The bridal shower was everything my sister Emma had dreamed of. Pink roses cascaded from crystal vases, champagne flowed freely, and 30 women in designer dresses cooed over her elaborate wedding plans. I sat in the corner, my head wrapped in a silk scarf covering the hair I'd lost 3 weeks ago. Sarah, we need to talk about the wedding timeline, Emma said, pulling me aside to the powder room. Her maid of honor, our cousin Jennifer, followed. So did our mother, Dr. Patricia Morrison, head of oncology at St. Catherine's Hospital, the same hospital where I received my treatments. Your next chemo session is scheduled for June 15th, Mom said, checking her phone calendar. That's the day before the wedding. I know, I said quietly. Dr. Williams scheduled it months ago. It's my 8th session out of 12. Emma's perfectly made-up face twisted with annoyance. Can't you just skip it? The wedding is June 16th. You'll be too sick to even attend if you do chemo the day before. I can't skip chemo sessions, Emma. The protocol is very specific. It's just one session, Jennifer interrupted. She was a nurse practitioner at the same hospital. Missing one treatment won't make that much difference in the long run. But Emma only gets married once. I stared at them. I have stage 3 breast cancer. The oncology team designed this schedule specifically. Sarah, don't be dramatic, Mom said, using her professional voice. The one she used with difficult patients. As an oncologist, I can tell you that a 1-week delay won't significantly impact your overall prognosis. We can reschedule for June 22nd. But that throws off the entire rest of my treatment schedule, I protested. Emma's eyes filled with tears. So my wedding doesn't matter. After everything I've done for you. I visited you in the hospital twice. Twice in 4 months, I said softly. See, this is exactly what I mean. Emma's voice rose. You're making everything about you and your cancer. This is my day. My wedding. The photos need to be perfect, and you'll look terrible if you're sick from chemo. The bathroom door opened. My Aunt Linda walked in. Dr. Linda Morrison, Chief of Internal Medicine. What's all the shouting? Sarah won't skip her chemo session for the wedding, Jennifer explained. Aunt Linda frowned at me. Sarah, honey, I know treatment is hard, but family has to come first sometimes. Emma has been planning this wedding for 2 years. I've been fighting cancer for 6 months. I said. Don't be selfish, Mom said sharply. We're trying to find a compromise here. My phone was in my pocket. I'd started recording conversations 3 weeks ago, after Mom had forgotten to tell me about a clinical trial I might have qualified for. After Jennifer had told the nurses station that my pain medication requests were attention-seeking behavior. After Emma had uninvited me from being a bridesmaid because bald bridesmaids would ruin the aesthetic. I pulled out my phone now, opened the voice memo app, and pressed record. Then I placed it on the marble counter between us. Could you repeat that? I asked calmly. About how I should skip chemotherapy for wedding photos. Emma didn't hesitate. Yes, skip the June 15th session. You can do it the next week. My wedding pictures will be in our family for generations. Your chemo schedule can be flexible for 1 week. The treatment protocol is designed with specific intervals. I said, keeping my voice steady, even as my hands shook. Missing a session could affect my survival rate. You're being melodramatic, Aunt Linda said. We're all medical professionals here. We know the statistics. 1 week won't kill you. But it might make the difference between remission and recurrence. I said. Mom sighed heavily. Sarah, I'm your mother and an oncologist. Trust my medical judgment. I'm telling you that you can skip this one session. For wedding photos, I clarified. For your sister's happiness, Mom corrected. Family should matter more than a rigid treatment schedule. Jennifer nodded. Besides, you knew about the wedding date before you even got diagnosed. You could have planned around it. I stared at her. You think I planned to get cancer at an inconvenient time? That's not what she meant, Emma said quickly. Look, we've already finalized the seating chart. You're not even in the family photos anymore, because of the hair situation. So really whether you're feeling well or sick doesn't even matter for the visual aesthetic. But if you do chemo the day before, you definitely won't come at all, and that will look bad. People will ask where you are, so I should skip cancer treatment so people don't ask questions at your wedding. I said. Now you're getting it. Emma smiled. See? When you stop being selfish, we We can all come to an agreement. I picked up my phone, stopped the recording, and saved it. Then I looked at each of them. My mother, my sister, my aunt, my cousin, 4 medical professionals, 4 people who had taken oaths to do no harm. I'm going to my chemo session on June 15th. I said quietly, as scheduled. Emma's face flushed red. Then don't bother coming to the wedding at all. Emma. Mom started. No. I'm serious. If she can't do this one thing for me, after everything I've sacrificed, then she's not welcome at my wedding. What exactly have you sacrificed? I asked. I had to change my bridesmaid dresses because you couldn't fit into the original size, Emma shouted. I had to listen to everyone talk about your cancer instead of my engagement. I had to deal with people pitying our family instead of celebrating my happiness. Jennifer put a hand on Emma's shoulder. You're right. You've been so patient with this whole situation. I looked at my mother. You agree with this? Mom's expression was strained. Sarah. I think you're being stubborn. Emma's wedding is important. Your treatment can be adjusted. By you, without consulting my actual oncologist. I am an oncologist, Mom snapped. And I'm telling you as both your mother and a medical professional, that you're making this harder than it needs to be. I left the bathroom and went home to my small apartment, the apartment I'd moved into after Mom suggested I stay with them, temporarily during treatment, then made it clear my presence was stressful for Emma's wedding planning. Over the next week, the messages came in steady streams. Emma. You're ruining my wedding. Hope you're happy, Jennifer. Your selfishness is really showing. Emma has been nothing but supportive. Aunt Linda. Disappointed in your attitude, Sarah. Family comes first. Mom, call me. We need to discuss your treatment plan. I think you're making poor decisions. I saved every message. I backed them up to 3 different cloud services. On June 10th, I received my chemo session as scheduled. I was violently ill for 3 days, as expected. On June 16th, I did not attend Emma's wedding. On June 18th, I submitted a formal complaint to the St. Catherine's Hospital Ethics Committee. I included the audio recording from the bridal shower bathroom. I included screenshots of every text message. I included a detailed timeline of every instance where my family members had used their medical credentials to pressure me regarding my treatment. I also filed complaints with the state medical board. On June 20th, my phone rang. It was Mom. What have you done? She whispered. I reported patient abandonment and medical coercion. I said calmly, you, Aunt Linda, and Jennifer all used your medical credentials to pressure a cancer patient to skip treatment. Emma was present and participated, though she faces different consequences. You recorded us without consent. Colorado is a one-party consent state. I said. I was present. I consented to my own recording. It's completely legal. Sarah. Please. You need to withdraw the complaint. This could affect our medical licenses. You should have thought about that before telling a cancer patient to skip chemotherapy for wedding photos. I'm your mother. You're also an oncologist who violated the Hippocratic Oath, I said. The ethics committee wants to interview me next week. They're very interested in the recording where you said, and I quote, 1 week won't kill you about skipping cancer treatment. The line went silent for a long moment. We can fix this, Mom said finally. As a family. I don't think so. I said. Jennifer is being investigated for the notes she put in my patient file about attention-seeking behavior while I was reporting severe pain. Aunt Linda is being reviewed for her statement that family obligation supersedes medical treatment protocols, and you're being investigated for attempting to alter my treatment plan without being my attending physician. This is vindictive. Mom hissed. This is accountability. I corrected. You taught me that, actually. Back when you used to care about medical ethics more than wedding photos. I hung up. The investigation took 6 weeks. The ethics committee interviewed everyone who had been at the bridal shower. They reviewed my complete medical file. They examined every text message and listened to every recording. On August 1st, the hospital released their findings. Mom received a formal reprimand and was required to complete ethics retraining. She was removed from any patient cases involving family members. Aunt Linda received similar sanctions. Jennifer was suspended for 2 weeks without pay and placed on probationary status for the notations in my file. The state medical board hearings were scheduled for September. Emma called me once sobbing. You destroyed mom's career over a wedding. I documented medical professionals pressuring a patient to skip cancer treatment. I said, their careers are being affected by their own choices, not by my complaint. We're family. Family doesn't ask you to risk your life for photographs, I said, and blocked her number. My 12th and final chemotherapy session was on September 12th. I went alone. My nurse, a kind woman named Maria, who had never once dismissed my pain or fear, held my hand during the worst of the nausea. I heard what you did, Maria said quietly. Half the nurses in oncology have wanted to report your family for months. Thank you for being brave enough to do it. I just wanted to survive, I said. That's not just anything. Maria replied. That's everything. 3 months later, my scans came back clear. No evidence of disease. Remission. I celebrated alone in my apartment, eating takeout and watching terrible reality television. My phone stayed silent. My family hadn't spoken to me since the ethics hearings, but I was alive, and I had documentation proving that my survival had mattered less to them than wedding aesthetics. It was the saddest truth I'd ever recorded, but it was still the truth.